What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Horror Heads podcast. I am Rich Mallory here with my co-host Jerry Lorenko.
The fuck's up, Rich?
All right, I love when you come in. Love when you come in hot like that. You can follow us.
Fucking excited.
Yeah, but yeah, no, me too. Yeah, I'm excited too, and I'll do my promoting everything in a second. But yeah, we're super excited because we do have filmmaker Viv Caldinelli on tonight to talk about his latest film, Scared Shitless, which is crushing it right now on Amazon Prime. We're also going to talk about the 1988 remake of The Blob, which I had never seen before, so I can't wait to get into that. You can follow us on Instagram at horrorheadspodcast or email us horrorheadspodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this wherever podcasts are available. You could also watch the video on YouTube and see how fucked up we all get. So before we get fucked up, what's up, Viv? Just want to say nice to meet you and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys too. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Excited to be here.
Yeah, can't wait to dive into your film. I watched it twice over the past 2 weeks to get prepared for this.
Nice.
Yeah, and we talked about getting fucked up. We do a little bit of drinking on this show. I saw you have a beer there. Could you what do you got? Raise it up.
I do. I have a beer here. It's a Madri Exceptional. I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know. That's what it is. My sister.
My.
As I was telling you, my sister works for Molson, so I get some fringe benefits. She gets some vouchers for free beer like every week or every couple weeks, like lots of cases. So yeah,
lots of cases.
Good.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, I have one really important question. Are they hiring?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll commute to Canada every day.
Where are you guys based?
So I'm in Los Angeles and Jerry's in New York. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So So
great.
We're handling each coast individually. We're just making sure.
And how did you guys?
I drink all the bourbon out here. He drinks it all in the So how do we guys hook up? So we've been friends for since high school, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And way back in the day, we used to stay up all night watching horror movies. Like I worked at a gas station. I would get off at midnight. I'd go to Jerry's house. We'd rent 3 or 4 movies from the local video store, watch them till 6, 7 in the morning. And way back then we started a website called Horror Heads, did that for a minute, kind of shut it down just because it got to be too much work. And here we are now. About 2 years ago, we decided to do a podcast and just see what happens. So that's
nice. Very nice.
So yeah, we've been doing the horror thing together. Mostly just me and him just texting each other about how much we hate various movies.
Yeah.
We figured let's do it so everybody could hear us talking shit. So that's kind of our origin story there. So you have a beer. Jerry and I are probably both drinking bourbon whiskey. That's what I have tonight. I have something called Devil's River, which was $11 at the local liquor store. So everybody knows.
Oh my God.
I've been on a budget.
Fucking steal.
It is a steal.
Steal.
Yeah, I've been on a budget lately, so I'm looking for the cheapest stuff I could find.
That's probably also a descriptor. Steel. It probably tastes like metal.
Yeah. We'll find out. It is. It's 90 proof, and apparently it says this company has been around since 1840. I highly doubt that, but that's what it says. And we're gonna get fucked up on this tonight. So Jerry, what do you got?
Yeah, you could probably use that as paint thinner if it doesn't work out as a drink later on.
Yeah.
I got something a little different here. I got the Bulleit here, single malt, which is pretty exciting.
I've had that.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, why don't you pour that?
Hero pour right here, right on the camera. Look at that.
Oh, that's deceptive because the bottle is black. So I'm expecting this really dark oil looking shit to come out of there, and it looks very like a lager.
Yeah, no, it's standard color.
Oh, it's darker than normal Bulleit. All right, cool. Well, let's cheers and let's see what we got here to the Devil's River bourbon whiskey.
Cheers to Viv.
I see Jerry's got a nice little ice cube in there. Okay.
Yeah, what's that like?
It's it's all right. Well, here's the thing. It's 90 proof, so it's got a little bit of a kick to it. It's very alcohol forward, even though it tastes like it's a much higher proof than it is. It's got the sweetness to it. It's got a little caramel, but it's a little rough on that first taste. So
Does it taste like someone dropped a bunch of pennies in the bottom of a bottle and you're drinking it now?
It's really hard to describe how bad this is. If you're on YouTube, you could see the faces I'm making right now. It's funny because at first it tastes like, okay, this tastes like a good bourbon, and then it hits the back of your throat, and then it's like, I don't want it to go any further than that. I kind of want it to go the other way, but you know what? we're gonna drink it and we're gonna get through it. That's what you get for $11 at the really shitty liquor store up the block.
Well, for $11, I think it's still a good deal.
You know
Absolutely.
what? It does the job. It's gonna get me fucked up, and that's all I care
That's
about.
it.
Like,
That's it.
Jerry,
pretty
what do
much
you got
it.
there? You got the Bulleit
Oh,
Single Malt.
it's delicious. Nice, smooth, light burn, really kind of florally kind of taste and a little bit of cherry at the end. It's actually really nice. This is a fantastic drink. I've been a little disappointed with some of the bullets that I've been tasting recently, but this one is top. So I'm really liking this one. This is a great drink.
Yeah, Viv, it's funny. I would say the past like 2 months, I've been on a budget, so I've been drinking whatever the cheapest thing I could find is. And Jerry's been drinking more like nicer high-end stuff. So he has a good time. I do not, but that's how we go. And Viv, is that beer like a lager? Like, what is that exactly?
I don't know. I have no idea. It is, oh, the soul of Madrid. So
What?
I'm sure it's Spain. It's Spanish from Spain. Um, that's all I know. It's beer exceptional.
Sounds
That's it. That's all I got for you.
that sounds
Um,
amazing.
but yeah, no, it tastes good. It tastes good. I got a case of 12 in the fridge. Maybe about 8 left or so. But
And by the end of tonight, there'll be 2 left.
we'll
So.
see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Okay,
And
okay.
I like your shirt. Yeah, Viv has on a Vestron Video T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Which, very cool.
Nice, thanks.
Yeah, huge fan of a lot of those older movies. So we're gonna talk to Viv a little bit about. I just mentioned earlier their newest film, Scared Shitless. You can watch it on Amazon right now. That's where I saw it. It's like a horror comedy, I would say, that kind of is a throwback to like a late 80s movie. And I know you picked The Blob for us to talk about, and that's like a film that influenced this. And I could definitely see that. It's got more of your film has a lot more of a modern vibe to it, but it definitely has that kind of feel of just like a fun movie. Like it's not like in your face comedy where it's like nonstop laughs, but it's got like a vibe to it that I really appreciate that you don't see a lot of, you see a lot of movies now, like horror movies now that are having more humor, but they're done like in a very different way, I would say, than this. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely makes me feel something. Like it definitely takes me back to again when Jerry and I were up at midnight, watching various horror movies that we just saw the box. We're like, oh, this looks cool. Let's try this out. So it definitely takes me back there.
Yeah, it's you know, we we just not trying too hard. It kind of is what it is, and we feel it feels like it's pretty grounded, and yeah, like anything, when you try too hard, it just comes off the wrong way, and it comes off as just a little too much, a little too grabby, a little too needy kind of thing, and there's just a good kind of reserved kind of restraint and confidence about how we approach things. And yeah, and it's a total throwback, like you said. It's just kind of the movies that we grew up watching, and that's what we wanted to make. We wanted to make a movie that we used to watch, and kind of add that to the pack, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. And for those who aren't familiar with this film, can you kind of give like the gist of like the plot really quick and like kind of what
Sure.
the vibe is?
Yeah, it's like a father and son plumbing duo, and just there's a routine call to an apartment building one night, and they inadvertently find out that there's a mad scientist living in that apartment building, and it let loose this experiment into the toilet, which is just this kind of apex predator that's going around killing everybody in the apartment building. And yeah, so what turns into a routine call ends up being this father and son team that have a plumbing team that's to kind of save the world from this insane creature that's fucking killing everybody in the building. So it's that old chestnut, you know what I mean? It's just something fucked up and kind of larger than life, but it's two ordinary people that kind of have to tackle it, and how shit would really go down if something like that happened. I guess that's the way I like to approach it. Just ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances.
And one thing I like about this movie is you use practical effects, I would say, for all of it. At least that's what I saw. And I loved how you lit and shot the creature, because like, you see a lot of these movies, and when you finally see the monster, and you do see the monster early on, you see it a bunch. it always looks like too fake or it just doesn't look right, and it kind of takes you out of the movie. But this, like, I don't know, you like have it like there's a lot of shadows on it, but you still really see it. But like it's a lot of the effects of it are hidden, so it feels very believable, which I really appreciate. Kind of like the techniques you use to kind of when you did show the creature that it was scary and funny at the same time. It didn't look cheap. It looks like this movie looks much bigger budget than it is, I would say.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, no, Steve did a fucking killer job, as always, Kostansky. And yeah, and you know, that's what we like about using practical effects. It's just it's there, it's tangible, and you can see it and you can touch it, and you know, you want the audience to kind of feel the same thing. And it's just, you know, that's what we all grew up on, you know. And yeah, CG just you know I think there's a place for it and stuff. I love it, but you know, I can appreciate it, but nothing beats practical effects.
Yeah, and it's funny. Before you got on, Jerry and I were talking about the Blob really quick, and I don't think neither of us had seen the remake before. And we were saying how we both were really into it and just loved the practical effects of it. And we were saying
Yeah.
this movie only works because it was 1988. If they made the Blob now, it would be awful, and neither one of us would watch it. Like it would just be
Yeah.
all
Oh
CGI.
yeah.
It would look terrible. It'd be hokey. It'd be stupid. But the movie has like a certain charm to it. And again, it's just like how they kind of did it, and how they weren't afraid to again show the monster and show it in a believable way. And I think you did something very similar. I know Jerry has a bunch of questions. I just want to ask you like a filmmaking question. So how many days was the shoot? And of that, I would love to know like how much of that was spent on the practical effects scenes. Like, you
Oh
know,
fuck.
did some of them take like multiple days to do like one kind of setup,
No.
or like you?
No, it was a crazy shoot. We did that in about 15 days, the entire movie. And two and a half or one and a half, 2 days were all just inserts and effects and stuff like that. So it was it was a real grind. It was for sure the most difficult thing I ever did myself. And the crew was awesome. Everybody was awesome. And yeah, you really didn't have much time to spend on like the non kind of effects that like what all the just the acting, you know, the one-handers and stuff like that. You know, the cast, they were awesome. So everyone just kind of you had to kind of nail things. You got one or two takes, really. You talked about it a little bit and you did it. And they had to get it, and they often, you know, did right, you know, the first couple takes, and then moving on. So it was a real grind, and you had to be really, really economical on what and how you did it.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like 15 days is not a lot of time for a movie like this because again, there is a lot of gore and there's some kind of even though the cast is small, there's probably like 8 people in the movie. Maybe it's in like one location, although there's a lot of different places in that location, so it's not like you would like one setup. But there's a lot of stuff with the creature that I'm just anticipating getting all of that right. I guess you just had to like get it right the first time and hope it looked good, and luckily it did, right? There's
Yeah,
certain things
no,
you can't
absolutely.
redo, right? Like after you explode blood everywhere, like it's not like you could like
You're fucked. Yeah, that's it. So yeah,
it could
there's a
take you
lot of
three
that.
hours to clean that up. But no,
Yeah,
really
no, it was.
ambitious. And I know you've done
No,
other films
I gotta
before. This
say.
is your first like horror film though, right? Or
Uh, Second, I did a short with Roddy Piper,
oh, cool.
back in fuck 2015. I want to say 16 maybe. And yeah, that was definitely that was horror. That was shorter. That was about 20 minutes long. And then all my like comedy stuff. It was like so. I grew up all about horror and comedy, but I like was the horror, you know, had since I was a fucking kid. And same thing, just watching all night, staying up all night, you know, with my friends and stuff like that, obsessed with it. But comedy was a big thing. But when I was directing for the making movies, I was always there generally about comedy, and horror was kind of my love, and I just kind of kept it there, kept things separate, so to speak. But my comedy always had like was always very dark, it was always very violent a lot of times and a lot of kind of gore in it. It wasn't quite horror, but then it just kind of yeah, just slowly veered that way. And yeah, so like now that I do horror, but all the horror I do definitely has a sense of humor to it. It's grounded, but yeah, it's I think I like kind of where I'm at now. I kind of straddle both, and I think that's where I'm happiest now, being able to do both.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the comedy, other than like the setup of a monster living in the toilets of this building, it's like you have some very interesting like characters. Like they're very campy, and like you have this old couple that like they're having dinner, and then like you hear it's anniversary, and then it cuts to like they're doing this crazy BDSM kind of like role play thing. It's just, there's a lot of these wacky kind of characters, like and you have this one influencer character who again is totally like taken from influencers now, and I don't know, I kind of love the setup of her scene, and it's you have the one character, the main character Dawn, is just kind of like just asshole, just kind of like cracking like one liners, like just doesn't take things too seriously. So I really appreciate kind of like again the world you've kind of created here, and everybody's believable in this world.
Yeah, that's Brandon. Brandon wrote the script. He created these characters, and he's got a real like he knows all of them. And he does a fantastic job with the dialogue, especially with Dawn and Sonny, the main characters. He really knows those guys inside out, and he really it's all there on the page, and also, but then it's like what they bring to the table on top of it as well. And so yeah, especially fucking Steven Ogg. He's just a pro. He's been around, and he's one of the few actors that can really, like, dramatic actors that can do comedy. Like, it's always like a bit tougher, I find, with dramatic actors trying to do comedy because they try too hard, like trying to be funny, trying to get these jokes as opposed to just being. And I find like comedic actors, like comics, can be dramatic, but the other way is a lot difficult, a lot more difficult. And Ogg's one of the few that can just fucking just does it perfectly. He's great.
Yeah, I think it was Marlon Wayans said after doing Requiem for a Dream, he's like, drama's easy. He's like, comedy's like the hard stuff. And I agree. I would
Oh
say
yeah.
making a comedy's got to be the hardest movie to make because everything's got to be right. The actors, the timing, it's just got to hit right. And you see a lot of comedies where it just doesn't work. So it's just ambitious to do that kind of stuff. Like everybody's got to be really on it and just, it's got to click. I feel for a
Oh
comedy
yeah.
to work.
It's just the timing, tone, inflection, variations. It's just like there's so many things. Like, it's funny. I'm not musically inclined whatsoever, but an actress, a friend of mine that worked before, she's a musician and a comedic actor, and she'd always say that like comedy and music are very similar, and just about how like hitting those notes and beats and writing kind of music, and it's kind of a that's like a cadence when you're almost like a song with different instruments and stuff. So yeah, it's a real it's I think for people that can do it well, they can do it. It's second nature for them, and it's very hard to explain or teach. Or for directing, you just kind of know, and it's just a sound that you're listening for, just beats kind of thing that you understand that like certain things have to land in certain places and in a certain way.
Yeah, so we talked about how kind of again this movie does, to me at least anyway, has that late '80s feel. I know we're going to talk about the Blob in a little bit. Well, what would you say some other influences are for you for not just this movie, but just you in general? Like, what do you kind of always go
Oh,
back to?
it's always like it generally is comedy horrors, I guess. I didn't really think of them as comedy horrors growing up, but they certainly were, especially now. Much like Return of the Living Dead, is huge.
Love
That
that
was a
movie.
massive
Yeah.
one. Oh yeah, it's great, and it's like we try to do in Scared Shitless. The funny bits are funny, but there's some real fucking dark and genuine, horror and drama in it as well. And those beats hit as well. American Werewolf in London, same kind of thing. Funny, and you got your real dark and serious stuff in that. Young Frankenstein, when I was like really young, I was big on that. It's a little bit different in tone. But as far as like kind of horror comedies are concerned, those are the big ones. I always say The Shining. Everyone says The Shining. Yeah, I mean, but like it is what it is. It's just it's a masterpiece. Um, I like a lot of the early Friday the 13th, especially Chapter 4.
Oh yeah.
That's the best one. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. I watched it so many times as a kid, so many times. Um, and trying to think what else was like a big influence. Some like it's funny. I was I don't know if you guys know this one. Do you remember a movie called The Boogeyman? from the 80s?
Yes, you know what? I never watched it until about a year ago. I
Okay.
watched it just to like see it, and it's like Amityville Horror meets The Exorcist meets it,
Yeah.
but it's so campy, and I thought it was I really appreciated that movie. I wish I would have seen it in the 80s because it would have been
I
in my
did. I saw it
rotation.
when I was like 8,
I
and it
remember I used
was
to see
fucking
the box office.
intense.
I would see the VHS in the video store. And I remember the cover art kind of scared me as a little kid. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
watch that. But yeah, no, the movie doesn't know what it is, right? It's like a combination of all these different movies that were popular at the time, but it has a real cool camp vibe to it. I love that movie. Yeah.
I had to write an article and what like a few months ago, and what I remembered about watching it as a kid was like the physics of that opening scene when the kid is stabbing like the stepdad or the boyfriend in the beginning, and you could tell like he had to go in and like a little bit, and he was like, and it was just yeah, and that was directed, or someone told like the kid to do it to make it look real and stuff. But yeah, it was like one of the more visceral movies I remember watching as a kid, and I remember I had to watch it at my friend's place. Like I live in an apartment building, and he lived down the hall, and I remember leaving having to go in the elevator and shit. And I was just like terrified, it was at midnight, and I'm like 8, 9 years old trying to get home through the apartment building and stuff. But yeah, it's like so many like obscure movies like that I watched because I grew up right next to a video store in very early 80s. To mid 80s, and they were a bit of a rarity then, and the owners had a kid that was just my age, and so we became friends. And so I had access to all these movies, and they weren't necessarily free all the time, but they sometimes they would if it was something obscure, whatever, let me take it. But I could watch whatever I fucking wanted. There was no like, and it was just like my mother, like I was like a single parent. My mother's busy, so she really had no time to fucking gauge what I was watching as a kid. So I lucked out, and I really got to watch a lot of cool shit. And it really, all the like even like comedies like Private School, I remember watching 1,000 times. Like all of
Yeah, I
these
watched
like
those movies
80s
too,
romps. Like
but for a different reason.
Different
Maybe.
reason.
yeah.
There's a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of nudity
totally.
in those movies.
Totally.
You know?
Screwballs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like yeah, they were fucking like
Watch
yeah,
them
and,
now.
like Hard Bodies.
Summer
Hard
Job
Bodies
was
is
another one I
yeah.
used to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's funny where I was talking to some friends of mine about like parodies and stuff, and how it's like those 80s romp sex comedies, you can't parody them because they're already a parody. Like, so it's like you can't fucking do anything with them other than rewatch them. You can't remake it because why in God's name would you remake it? So I don't know how you would be able to bring that back in what way. I
You
think
couldn't
they're
do
just
it. You just
relics.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you just
because
leave them.
because
Like,
the 80s and we'll get into it when we talk about the Blob too. It's just a moment in time where you could just do certain things. Like we weren't as like
right.
restricted.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
like had a little bit more like humor, and it felt wholesome when it really wasn't, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like
Right.
when you watch them now, they're kind of cringy, and a lot of them even a little rapey. But like at the time, there was like a charm to them, I think.
Very rapey.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
rapey. Yeah. Like it's yeah, it's like I know like it was David Carradine who just passed away from Revenge of the Nerds. I saw that in the theater with my dad, and my dad was an Italian immigrant and old, even for like back then kind of thing. He had me very late. I remember watching Revenge of the Nerds in the theater, and him not obviously having a issue with the nudity or anything or the content because he's Italian. And but soon as the joint went up, soon as he started smoking joint, he just grabbed me. I remember and just hauled me out of the theater. And it just to this day, it's just funny about like out of all like the drinking and the sex and everything and the swearing, like that was not an issue.
Drew
It
the
was the
line on the
weed.
joint.
Oh yeah, as soon as the thing, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I like it's I don't know what it is. It's just those movies just had they were just so fucking this gleeful anarchy, and it was just such an escape. All of those movies, the horror movies, the comedies or whatever, and there was just something movies were just special back then. Like, you didn't have the access to them. You didn't have the access to certain, like, there was TV, and then you went to the theater to watch shit. And, watching videos at home was, even that was a bit special. So it just felt like everything you were watching when we were young was special. It was kind of
Yeah,
almost event, like,
I
kind
know
of
what you're
thing.
saying, because like you don't have the access to everything like we have now, where you have thousands of
Yeah.
movies at your fingertips, and it's like when you were a kid and you watched one of these 80s sex comedies or like horror movies, you really felt like you were doing something like you shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this movie right now. Like, and you just kind of felt like a little danger to it. I don't know, that like you were seeing something maybe you shouldn't.
Oh
Versus
yeah,
now, it's like,
absolutely.
anybody can watch a billion porn videos at their fingertips now, and it's like no big deal. But then it was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like you just didn't know what you're gonna get. Speaking of like the dark comedy in Scared Shitless, like my favorite part of the movie is, so you have Don and Sonny, who are this father and son team, and Sonny's a huge germaphobe where he freaks out about everything. And there's a scene, I guess, like more towards the end, where Don gets like his finger kind of bit off by the monster, and he's like spraying blood, and it sprays right in his son's face. And you just know, because he's such a germaphobe, like how, and like he stops for a second, and then like it spurts again. And it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that part cracked me up. So it's like, that's like these subtle, that's something about this movie, is it's funny, but it's subtly funny. It's not like in your face. It's kind of like you got to be paying attention, and you kind of pick up on these little nuances, and it's just like, again, it's a little world that you kind of created there.
Yeah, it's all about, it's really just like fundamentals of comedy, of certain comedy, I guess. And it's a bit more of a dramatic approach to it, because you want to keep everything grounded, and you want to keep the story and their, conflict and arc and journey legitimate and on track. So, and if you want them to be funny, it's really about them being funny in the moment, but it's always, the forward momentum's always driving. You're never stopping to tell a joke, and here it is, you know what I mean, or some kind of non sequitur. It's always on, always with forward momentum, with the story, and with that, you have to kind of have some discipline, because there's really funny jokes, but you're stopping to tell them. You're not, it's not actually, there was a bit we cut, and admittingly, I didn't want to cut at the beginning, but then I was like, all right, yes, that makes sense, with the janitor when he's sitting on the toilet and he gets his balls bit off. The creature was just going and just kind of sniffing around his balls,
Oh.
and he was just laughing and giggling like something's tickling him down there. And then so there's a logic issue of like we all know, if we were sitting on the toilet and something was tickling our balls, we would have a
I
different
mean,
reaction.
I
We
mean,
would immediately
maybe.
get up or run. Maybe,
that's
maybe not.
that is a
But
core fear that you're tapping into right there.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, and while his performance was hilarious, it just didn't make sense in the moment, and it was a bit of a, it was veering off from the forward momentum. So that's what, yeah. But sorry, I tend to ramble, especially when I've had a drink or two. But that's it. Yeah, it's just always, just kind of being disciplined with the comedy, and the forward momentum of the story, and kind of keeping them hand in hand.
I mean, for me, like some of like the funniest parts where it's like right after, that scene where basically Don is just like reaching his hand to the pipe. He pulls out like a dick, and he's not wearing gloves, and he's not reacting. He's not
Yeah.
reacting the way you think someone would react
Yeah.
when they're holding a dick in their hands. And he's just like kind of having a natural conversation with Sonny. And for me, I found those moments like super funny. And I was like, he's just like waving the dick around. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like unhinged right now, but like no one's acting that way. And I think, as Rich mentions, like that subtle humor is what really makes it funny. And I think me and Rich talk about this all the time. That's probably like one of the hardest things to balance is, like that humor, but also kind of get the heart in there. And I think this film did a great job at doing that.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much. No, it means a lot, you guys.
I mean, I do have a question though. So, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how you got hooked up with Brandon, but what I do want to know is, so you could tell us that, but I do want to know what this title is insane. I mean, when you signed on, was the title in place?
Oh
And
yeah.
did you have
Yeah,
any
yeah.
reservations about that, or like you're just like, fuck it, I'm going
Only
for it?
I Uh, um, Brandon certainly didn't. Brandon and Lewis, they, obviously, or Brandon came up with the title and the
Mhm.
pun of it and everything. My only issue was this. My only issue was I didn't like that people, even because it was plumbers, that they would, sorry, she's right here, that they would people would think it's like fecal matter, like it was
Mm,
shit in the actual movie. Because there's no shit. There's not a piece of shit, anything, any kind of shit in the movie. And I was worried that people would think it's schlocky, kind of thing. But but yeah, it's a term, scared shitless. You know
yeah,
what I
for
mean? It's not
sure. Yeah.
about the shit, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So it's great. And we are working on a sequel. Brandon's written that.
Oh, yeah.
And
You're announcing it here, I hope, first.
yeah, well, I guess so. I guess we've been kind of rambling it. Well, we're trying to secure the
Exclusive.
financing and stuff. Yeah. But we're just calling it Scared Shitless 2. And because if you say number two or anything
Oh,
like
that's
that,
kind of
it's
funny.
it's it, it's funny, but it kind of goes back to the fundamentals
Yeah,
again too,
it's
because
that
there is nothing,
scatological
it's a
humor
shit
there.
joke. And it's
Yeah.
not about shit, it's about being scared shitless.
Can,
You know,
can I
it's
tell you both something really funny about the title? So I'm super lazy, and I was looking
Mhm.
for this film, and I have like one of those Amazon cubes, so it basically has like Alexa built in. So I just said, Alexa, scared shitless. And the answer was insane. Alexa was like, I'm so sorry. I cannot dial 911 at this time. Please relax and try to find a phone. I'm like, no, scared shitless movie finds it. And it's like, I will find that creepy movie title for you.
Oh,
And I thought
really?
that I never heard Alexa change its tone before. And it was the funniest thing. It was like whispering, and it was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, all right, I'm set up to watch this movie right now.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh
That
man,
is that
that's
is
good.
really funny. So we're gonna get to know you a little bit more. We're gonna talk. We'll probably ask you some more questions as we kind of get through. I do want to get
Yeah,
to
you
the
bet.
movie that we're gonna talk about tonight, and we're gonna talk about the 1988 remake of The Blob, which is a 50s classic. And just a story about me. I remember I was probably like 7 years old or 6 years old, and I was at my grandparents' house, and I don't know where everybody was, but they had a den that had a TV in it. And I remember watching the original Blob back then, and I remember thinking it was the coolest, scariest movie. And now this is like 7-year-old me, right? But I remember being so freaked out by just the concept of this creature, I guess, that just absorbs everything. And I remember really that was like one of my early horror film memories of seeing this. Might be one of the first horror movies I
Right.
ever saw. So we are going to talk about the remake, not the original. One question I do want to ask you, Viv, is if you could remake any film and do it your way, what would you choose?
Okay, I have two answers here.
You could give two, yeah.
When I was a kid, the movie I wanted to remake the most was Westworld, the
Okay.
Michael
Wow.
Crichton Westworld.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fucking used to love that. I still do. I think it's one of the best trailers, even just like how it's set up like a travel video. And then it's like, well, will go wrong, go wrong, go wrong. And even in the thing, and just the imagery with the sunglasses, the aviator sunglasses and the pilot. Anyways, it's just, I wanted to do it with this retro chic and kind of keep it retro. I do like the series that came out, at least the first couple seasons. I thought they did a great job with it. I don't think they actually knew where they were going necessarily with it, but so that was one. And I don't know who would do Yul Brenner's part. I think now I would do some kind of like CG and keep fucking Yul Brenner in there as like the gunslinger or
Like a
something like that.
hologram. Yeah.
Oh, he was awesome. He was awesome. Like when like he had those steely eyes, and the thing they were like when he's like draw, and he kept on like when he fucking went off like the robot, and you can tell something was wrong. He was really scary, and I think that movie we can go back that predates Terminator, and I think that's where Terminator essentially came from. Um, the movie I want to remake is not necessarily a horror though, but there's a horror element to it. Summer School with Mark Harmon.
Oh, I used to love that movie. I've
Yeah,
probably seen that a
Watch it all the
hundred
time.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
yeah.
movie is a classic. That movie is so funny.
I
Yeah, no,
want to,
huge fan of that movie.
yeah, I'd love to remake that with like John Hamm, I guess, as
Oh,
instead
wow.
of
There you go.
fucking
Instead of Mark
Nailing it.
Harmon. Yeah.
yeah, instead of Mark Harmon. And I remember how big Mark Harmon was when, like
Yeah.
in the 80s and shit. I remember in the checkout counter with the magazine, there was like Mark Harmon's sexiest man alive.
I think he did
Like he
Wow.
Playgirl
was
at
like
one
this.
point
He
too.
took over
Yeah.
A
Don.
word?
He took the like the fucking torch from Don Johnson. I remember because it was always Don Johnson. Then Mark Harmon came, and what was the other Mark Harmon movie that fucking the Presidio? Do you remember the
I've
Presidio?
never seen it, but I know the movie you're talking about.
Oh my God, him and Sean Connery. But yeah, I like summer school was great, and I remember it was the chainsaw and what's his name, the horror guys in the
The
movie,
blonde
and they were
guy,
like
yeah.
yeah, they were the fucking coolest dudes, and creating all this like gore and special effects and stuff and being a thing. So I think yeah, those like summer school is probably the movie I'd want to remake now if I had a
No,
chance.
that's funny. And that movie's such a moment in time, but yeah, that's one of my favorite. I used to watch that all the time. All right, cool. So let's get into the Blob. I'm going to give the plot of it really quick for those of you who don't know. A deadly entity from space crash lands near a small town in Colorado, I believe, and begins consuming everyone in its path. Panic ensues as shady government scientists try to contain the horrific creature. And what the creature is, it starts off as this like pink goo that just as it consumes humans, it grows and grows and grows before finally becoming this monstrous thing that just basically engulfs the whole town. And there's a great scene where a bunch of people are in a movie theater. And it's a packed movie theater, and they're watching a horror movie. Just to cut really quick, I would do a quick drinking game question for you. Have to drink for 3 seconds. If you could get this right, what is the name of the movie they go see?
Oh, I got it. Do you know it, Viv?
No,
All right.
fuck.
All right. So is me and Viv a team, or are we all
Yeah, yeah.
separate?
If either one of you get it, I'll drink.
You drink Garden Tool Massacre.
Dan, that is the movie. Yeah, correct.
Shark Duel Massacre, is it?
Garden
Mhm.
Tool Massacre. Hell
That's
yes.
right.
And I love
That's where
it
they
because
weren't allowed to go.
there's these two like 10 or 12-year-old boys, and they sneak out to go see Garden Tool Massacre, and it's in a packed theater, and the Blob ends up basically overtaking the entire theater and killing everybody in the theater, which I
Which I
thought was
guess
an
is a
awesome scene.
scene like that's from the original. There's
Yeah, there is
there's the
a
big
yeah.
movie theater scene kind
They're
of
not
thing.
watching Garden Tool Massacre in that, but
No.
yeah, they are watching something. So here's my take on this movie, and I'd never seen the remake before. And to be honest, like I was excited to watch it because I'd never seen it before, but I had very low expectations because I just missed this one. I fucking really liked this movie.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it
no,
was
it's
really
fucking
cool.
awesome.
It has like again, it's got that 80s humor to it where like the first like 20 minutes or so, like you have these characters and they're just like in these funny situations. Like you have like the jock going to buy condoms and like a priest comes up behind him online and like he's pretending, oh, those aren't for me, those are for that guy over there. And like it's got a lot of these like funny moments to it. And but then it goes full horror, and I was shocked by how gory and just gross this and violent this movie is. Like I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting it to be, and it is campy, but it does feel serious too at times. Like the stakes are high.
Oh
This
yeah.
this creature is scary, and it's like it's gnarly. And it reminded me a lot of John Carpenter's The Thing, kind of
Yep.
how they did the practical effects on this, and I was surprised by like not surprised by how good the movie was, but how just like intense it was. I just didn't expect a movie called The Blob from 1988 to be like scary. And this movie's scary. It's freaky.
Oh, The Thing and The Blob are to me the two best like practical effect gory like horrors for sure. And some of those kills are just so fucking inspired. From the phone booth, the sink. The
Oh
sink was
yeah.
the inspiration for the toilet kill in Scared Shitless.
Where the
Uh,
woman gets
um,
pulled into the toilet.
yeah, and it's what else is really good about the Blob is the script. I believe it was Frank Darabont who wrote it,
I saw that and I was like, oh
and
wow. So
and
this
yeah,
movie has like a pedigree. So Frank Darabont, for
yeah,
people who don't know, is like the showrunner for Walking Dead. The director is Chuck Russell,
yeah,
who directed The Mask, Scorpion
yeah.
King, and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which is my favorite of all the Elm Street movies. I wouldn't say the best, but my favorite
No, but
of
yeah,
those
it was the
movies.
mainstream. I guess it was like kind of it went. That's when it kind of went mainstream. I think
Yeah,
because
that's what
I
it
think
really
that one
was.
ended up being like adult accompaniment or something. Because I remember being able to see it in the theater, and I was quite young still. Um, but the like even that first act is just like with the comedy and building up the characters, the misdirects, just being able to craft like him going into the store, the jock going to the store, saying it's for that guy, and then ends up being the dad is the pharmacist to the girl he's picking up. Like all of that shit is really wonderfully crafted. But what I do love is how they fuck with you on who you think the protagonist is going to be.
Oh yeah.
And what that does when, like, right at the end of the first act, your hero essentially dies.
Horrifically.
And then yes, horrifically. And then it's your antagonist, you know what I mean, who ends up becoming the protagonist. Like that swap and rolls. And it also, when you have someone at that level die, that just ups the stakes and tells you that no one is safe. So it was a really, really masterful script, I think, as well as for, you know, for a horror of that type. And it's a real gem. I think it's like The Thing. Yeah, that's as far as, you know, horrors go in the 80s. Like that's like, I never mentioned it before, but absolutely, that's like, you know, the tops kind of thing. But The Blob is right up there with it for me, you know.
Yeah, and then the scene you're talking about with the protagonist, who you think is the protagonist, his character Paul, who's dating Shawnee Smith, who we know now from the Saw films, but this was like kind of her starting out point, I believe. They're in the hospital because they found this homeless guy that has the blob on his arm. And Shawnee Smith walks into the room where Paul now is covered in the blob and he's getting dissolved, and it's like disgusting and horrific. And he kind of reaches out to her and she grabs his arm, and you shouldn't laugh at this because it's not funny, but it is. And she just like pulls back his arm, and it's just his arm she's holding, and she's freaking out.
It was definitely funny.
Yeah, it was funny, but like also like fuck. And once that happened, I was like, oh, this movie's like, I'm in. Like you don't know what's gonna happen now. And again, I was shocked by, again, how graphic like this movie is, like for a 1988 kind of movie.
I like that scene right there that was in the hospital, and when like Paul's basically dissolved and the that homeless transient guy is, and the doctor walks in and he just starts calling the nurse. Like, what is the nurse? Like, what is she gonna do? There's a guy who melted on the bed. He's like, nurse, come on. Like, definitely a lot of humor like that.
Yeah, and
I
there's
never
a lot
saw
of
this
kind of
film. Okay.
so there's a lot. It's kind of like sad too. I remember with the waitress and the guy, like,
Oh, Fran,
you
yeah.
could, yeah, and you could tell Fred just fucking loves her, and he hasn't had a date in a long time,
Yeah.
and he's so happy and fucking, you know what I mean? And it's a genuine happiness. It's not like I'm gonna get laid type of thing. It's just like, I'm old in a small town. I got nobody, you know what I mean, to look for. And he finally, you know, he gets a wonderful girl. And yeah, and it doesn't work out for him. Sorry, that's it. I just
No,
love
it's a
those little bits, you
story of
know?
my life. No, but this film is definitely it's shocking because yeah, I mean they kill Fran, who was a very lovable character.
And that scene is crazy. That's the scene with the phone booth, right?
Yes, the phone
Yeah,
booth.
you guys
So-
got to look up on YouTube. You can find the fucking, like, the behind the making of.
Oh wow, really?
And but what they're doing is, and it's not just they make it, it's all the test runs of the effects, especially like the bookcase and stuff like that, and the telephone booth. So you can see how they were fucking with things to see how, like, the experimenting, see how they would get it and make it work and everything. And it's pretty genius how they do some of the shit. Yeah, absolutely, look it up.
And the scene we're talking about is, so the woman is in like a phone booth, which doesn't exist anymore, but at the time it was very familiar to have a phone
What
booth.
is a phone booth, Rich?
So a phone booth
seriously.
is a glass vertical enclosure that is really tight on you, and there is a phone that you could use if you put a quarter in, you could call people with. But it's, people like always end up in these in horror movies back in the 80s. It's never a good thing. But what happens is the blob completely surrounds this phone booth, and you see like bodies being pushed up against the glass of just victims, and eventually it kind of crushes the phone booth and gets Fran.
Yeah.
But it's like
epic.
it's a horrifying scene. It's a really good
Yeah.
scene. But speaking of the humor, I think the funniest thing in the movie is you have Kevin Dillon, who plays like the bad boy. He's like the motorcycle guy with like a leather jacket. And he's wearing this shirt that's kind of like a pirate shirt. Like,
Yeah.
and you're like, I always love these 80s movies, the bad boy. Whenever you look back, you're like, that was the bad boy. Like, he looks like
And
such
I'll
a tool.
admit, I saw that I rented it on a whim with a couple friends of mine, Mike and John. They're twins. This was in 80, 87, 88, the summer. And we would just go to this place called the Pop Shop on Upper James in Hamilton in Canada, in Ontario. And you just grab whatever. And this place is the same place where I saw like Dead Alive, where I was grabbing Dead
Oh,
Alive and
that's
not knowing,
awesome.
because there was a bunch of these straight to video movies of sorts. I think The Blob did have a very, very short release in the
So
theater.
the Blob did have a theatrical. It did not do well. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
budget is anywhere from 10 to 15 million. The director says 10. There's things about it being 15. Who knows? Half of that was on visual effects though. So like it makes
yeah.
sense. But I think it only made like 7 million. So it was kind of a bomb when it came out, which is kind of a bummer. But
Too bad, man.
yeah, it's too bad. I wonder why. I don't know if it's just, it might have
I
been
just don't think it had
timing
the
or,
stars. It didn't
yeah.
have the stars, to be honest. Like it had no one in there that was a draw. It had everything. If they had just had like fucking Kurt Russell as the sheriff and
You know
someone
what though?
else,
I think the thing didn't do very well either,
no, it
and
didn't.
yeah, it
It
became
did.
like a
It
cult
did
hit later.
better. It did better. It did better. It just did like better than that. It just wasn't the massive success that they were hoping for. And
Right.
I think at the time they were probably looking to Carpenter was probably a bit of a pain in the ass. And I think they were looking for any kind of excuse to fucking get rid of him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know so many funny Carpenter stories about yeah, anyways, I shouldn't think but just about like him being a pain in the ass, like back when he was like thing I from inside stories and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, anyways, I just rented it on a whim and I didn't know what I was getting into. And just being so fucking just loving it. Just loving it.
Yeah, the other funny thing is, I mean, unfortunately, this one character was a rapist, basically. But I like that the guy has like in his trunk of his car, he's got like a full bar
Oh yeah.
with like a mixer, and like that's such an '80s thing for like a guy to have, just like you open your trunk and
I
there's
want
like
that
all these
now.
bottles. I know.
He
I
was
found that funny.
and he
And he had
played
like
that
a
part a little too well, I think. He
yeah, yeah,
had the
but he
face
actually
and
like
everything.
yeah, it's just like it's funny. He's like making this drink and he's like putting strawberries in and he's got this like mixer. The girl's clearly passed out in the front seat, so I don't know why he's even doing all this, but like I just found it funny that he had this whole setup like in his car. Like I thought that was really funny. The other
It's
thing
so horrible.
oh,
A date
it's
rape is
horrible.
a date
Yeah,
rape is just so like
that's just a plot point, like it was like
yeah, and it's
a
like
throwaway. It wasn't even like anything. It's just like, oh, let's just throw in a date rape here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which very 1988. Another thing I do love about this movie is Jerry and I talk about this a lot, and a lot of horror movies, especially nowadays, but even back then, there's like what we call final girl fatigue, where there's like 20 to 30 minutes left in the movie, and then there's one survivor that basically the killer or the force is trying to kill. And what I like about this movie is that I would say the last 20, 30 minutes is chaos. Like the
Oh
blob is
yeah.
attacking the entire town. So it's not just chasing Shawnee Smith and Kevin Dillon. It's trying to get everybody. So you have like these government people trying to stop it. Like there's like again a priest character who's kind of getting involved. There's the sheriff. There's a lot of stuff going on in that last 30 minutes that keep it really interesting and fun. And it's like now I watch a lot of movies and I get tune out towards the end because I'm like, all right, everybody I care about is dead. There's one character. I know they're probably going to survive. Let's just get to it. But this movie kind of like has a lot of cool shit happen in that last 20, 30 minutes, which I think really kind of helps the enjoyment. It makes it more rewatchable to me.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember the suits being really cool on the government guys.
Oh yeah.
Like the suits with the
With the
purple
light. Yeah,
stuff
with
in
that
there and the
is
light and everything
awesome.
like that. He did a really good job, man. And then you're right, it was just chaos. Everything going around. And the kid dying with the backpack and the zipper thing and
I was
all of
just gonna
that.
say they kill a
Oh,
kid in
oh,
this movie.
Eddie.
Yeah,
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 which
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
whenever they kill a kid in a movie, I'm like thumbs up. Not because I
Yeah,
want
no,
kids,
absolutely.
not because I want to see kids get killed, but because it's like dangerous. It's like you never
Yeah, that's
like
exactly.
if they'll kill the little kid, they'll kill anybody, and then I know no
And
one's safe.
again, it's going back to that script where like they killed the protagonist or who you think it was, so like no one's safe. And then towards the end, he killed the kid. So they kind of doubled down on that of sorts about like no one being safe and like really heightening it. And I also like the kid was a bit of an asshole, so it was kind of like a punishing
You're
kid.
not that
You know,
mad.
like the kid, like he didn't deserve it, but he kind of, in the story realm, he kind of did deserve it. Fuck that kid. But
I mean, that's
yeah.
probably what I said when I was watching it.
I'm trying to think of like there's a whole thing about kids being killed. It's funny in Portal Hell. I should send you a link to that short that I did with Roddy Piper, and it's basically he's plays a superintendent. Very kind of similar tone and sensibility to Scared Shitless. Roddy Piper is a superintendent in a small building. The building's a piece of shit. Everything's going wrong with it constantly. Power going out all the time, and then he goes downstairs and he finds a couple of cultists opening up a portal to bring Cthulhu back into the world. And so he used to fight these cultists, and everyone from the building comes down as a big group. Anyways, there's a point where the portal's glowing, and the kid gets hypnotized by the portal. This little girl, and she walks in to the portal, and she just sticks her head in, and Piper goes to grab her and pulls her out, and she's severed like right where she is, and she pulls it, it's just her little legs and guts, right? And then he throws it down, and because it's the same thing. I wanted to kill a kid in the movie.
So
Just
you're
to show
guilty
no one
too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And she was a great kid. It wasn't like it was some kind of comeuppance like in the story. You know what I mean? That like, oh yeah, the kid got what she deserved or he deserved. But I just remember having this moment with Roddy where when he pulled the legs out, he got really melodramatic with it and just like, oh no, and he just slowly put them down and he went down to his knees and he kind of thanked. And then we didn't get in an argument, but it was of sorts, I guess. I was like, Roddy, you can't.
I'd be scared to argue with him.
Yeah, and you really had to pick your moments because he would just make decisions and he would just do it.
Yeah.
And I kind of got the gist of that. And I'd just be like, all right, let him have this one because inevitably he's going to do something and it's not going to work and you're going to have to fight him on it a bit. And so I did kind of save up some ones, you know what I mean? Like I'd kind of approach him. He's like, I like doing this. And I'll be like, okay, you do your thing. And then eventually for this one, but yeah, and he just started yelling at me, being like, do you have a daughter? Do you have a kid? Do you know what it would be like when it's like that? And I was like, I get it. I absolutely do. And no, I don't. So you just need to pretend it's like just scream to high heaven and just throw those legs away and just like make it like be grossed out by it and just like that. I said, this is schlocky porn kind of thing. Think of it that way. You gotta have fun with it. Like, you know what I mean? Don't get all the thing. But because it's the only way to do it in that context, because then it becomes disturbing. And the audience is going to be along for the ride on that. So you have to kind of pull them in a certain way so they can laugh at a child being severed in half. But it's anyways. But
so like I know you can't obviously cast Roddy Piper now, unfortunately, but because he passed. But like, is that a movie you'd want to make into a feature, or is it just a short?
Well, that was the whole point. The whole
Yeah.
point was to, and it's sad. And we wrote it. A friend of mine, Matt Watts, had this idea for the Portal of Hell movie, and then we developed it together, made the short as a calling card, and the short did fucking fantastic, and played everywhere, and won like dozens of awards, and then we got into TIFF, Toronto Film Festival, with it, and that. Was it that day, that morning, or that week, or I can't remember how it coincided, but he died like right before the premiere.
Oh,
and
that's
then
a
that was
bummer.
it. And then after that, we tried, you know what I mean? Like we really like thought like maybe like someone like Kurt Russell would be good or whatever. And then we even like, it's the irony is that short got me, I ended up moving to LA because of that short. I always wanted to, but that kind of sealed the deal because it's short. An agent at CAA saw it, and then so I signed on with them, and he wanted to do the feature as well. He was excited about that, and then we got the script in front of Kurt Russell, and I don't actually think he read it. I think it was just his
agent read it. Yeah.
Yeah. To be quite honest,
Can people
because
find it anywhere? Can they find Portal to Hell?
Yeah, it's just I think it's on my YouTube. I'll
Okay.
send you a link. I'll send you a
Yeah.
link,
Well, just so
and then
people,
you can
so
put it on
for
your thing,
yeah, so
and
for
you can
people at
show it.
home, how could they find you or your YouTube? Like, yeah, how could they find more
Um,
about you?
I don't know. They can go on my Instagram, which is just my first name, Vivieno spelled backwards. It's one I Viv. So it'd be Oneiviv. So yeah, Viviano spelled backwards, one I Viv. And and you can yeah, just Google Viviano Portal to Hell, or Viv Caldinelli Portal to Hell, and you can find that short. Scared Shitless obviously is everywhere, on Amazon and on Netflix in Canada, Amazon in the States, and I think we're in a few other countries as well, Brazil and Germany and Portugal and what have you. We're still like doling out these little sales here and there. But yeah, we totally wanted to make that. And then what happened was we just kind of decided that, that movie died with Roddy. It kind
Fair.
of was like we had the thing, and it was like, you know, getting fucking, Thomas Hayden Church to play the Roddy Piper. It's just not gonna do it. But Demon Knight. Now I'm thinking about Thomas Hayden Church. Have you guys ever seen Demon Knight?
Long time ago. I don't remember it though, but I was a
It's
big
really
Tales from the
good.
Crypt fan.
It's really good. It's really fucking good. That's another movie that's kind of like this hidden gem that people don't think about. Even Bordello Blood is pretty funny too, with fucking Dennis Miller.
I've never seen that. And I was back in the day, I was a big Tales from the Crypt fan. I watch them now and yeah,
Yeah,
they don't really hold up. It's just, they're
shit,
just
no.
not that good. And it doesn't, I don't know. I think you have to be a kid to watch it. I think like 12-year-old me loved it. My age now, it's kind of not the same, which is a bummer because I got so excited because I like finally found it because they're hard to find. Because
Yeah,
I don't think they're streaming anywhere, and I ended up finding it on some site. And I remember being like, "All right, I'm gonna lock in," and I'm like, "All right, well that was okay." And then I watched like three more. I'm like, and then I kept going. I'm like, these are all pretty bad.
yeah, they are. Creep Show still fucking holds up wonderfully, I find, as far as like the horror kind of anthology stuff. Second one, not so much, but that first
Yeah.
one is still really, really fucking good. But you didn't like the second one at all?
No.
I rewatched
Yeah.
it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what though? As a kid though, I really dug it. So like, it just at my point in my life now, it's just not for me, unfortunately.
I think the
Uh,
Raft one was still good, but yeah, I agree. I
That's the
agree.
only watchable one I would say in
Yeah.
the of the three. The first
They
one's
did
kind of
that.
hard to
Then they do
watch.
that series too.
They did a
Oh, did they
series.
really?
Yeah, there's a series on Shudder, and I think they've done a couple of
Yes.
seasons,
I
and it's hit or
tried.
miss.
Yeah, I
Some are
tried.
I think the best episodes are okay, and then
Okay.
there's some that are just terrible. So it's like something to watch, but it's
Yeah,
I
I'm not gonna
wouldn't.
have like Ted Danson in them and stuff like
No.
that.
That's still one of my favorite, like what they do with the voices in that little bit with Ted Danson and his girlfriend.
Oh,
They have that weird garbly
yeah.
kind of like kind of thing. That's like the best distorted monster voice, zombie voice and movie history. And
Creepy.
oh, it's an awesome fucking movie. Or I watched that so many times as a kid too. I didn't like the cockroach one at the end. I remember as a kid. I always thought that
Yeah,
was a bit
that's
weird.
always going to be a skip because I've lived in apartments with roaches and I don't want to. That's
No,
PTSD, and
yeah.
I don't want to revisit that. So that's one I will never watch again. So Viv, just so you know, so one thing we do on this show is we rate every movie on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being the worst, 5 being the best, and we do a little drinking tied to that rating.
Mm.
When we have a guest on, we ask them to partner with one of us, either myself or Jerry, and basically what that means is you're going to be drinking along with us. So, for example, if you choose Jerry and I say I rate the Blob 3, you both need to drink the 3 sips. So right now is your choice, and it sounds like both Jerry and I enjoyed this movie, so I don't know who the right choice is, but you just got to pick one of us, and you could flip a coin and be random. And for those of you watching on YouTube, Viv does have a really cute Rottweiler who is walking on camera every now and then, so
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely suggest flipping over to that so you can kind of check out his pet. What is your dog?
I,
What's your dog's name before you pick
Carla.
Carla?
Carla. Yeah.
Carla,
Yeah.
love it.
She's still young. She's only 3.
Oh wow,
But
puppy.
yeah, of sorts. She's still like she's small for a Roddy, but she's still a bit of a tank. but she's very, 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 very friendly. Very, very friendly girl. Can you say hi?
Yeah, there's a close up
Right.
right there. So go to YouTube right now and watch this.
Carl,
It's funny. She looks
if I
so
brought one of my
small to me.
cats on, would there be an incident?
She's weird. You know, she's like, she's afraid of small dogs and cats. She'll want
The
nothing to do with
Rottweiler's
them.
afraid of. You know what?
Yeah, but big dogs, she doesn't like. Even dogs that are bigger, she's not aggressive. Rotties are always more defensive. They're not
Yeah.
aggressive, right? They just kind of stare and they just wait for the other dog to make the move, kind of thing. But little dogs, she's what the fuck is that, man? And she just like doesn't want anything to do with it. She's like, that thing's crazy.
It's like when we see a mouse and we're like, ah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why am I scared of a mouse? Like, you know? So, okay, so on to business. So you need to pick either Jerry
Sorry.
or myself, and neither one of us will be offended. It's just for the purpose of this game.
Well, I know what you think of the Blob. I didn't really hear what Jerry thought of it. So let me pick Jerry then, if that makes
Okay,
sense.
cool. So that means you'll be drinking together. So how this works for our audience is I'm going to give a rating. You both are going to drink. Then Jerry's going to give a rating. I'm going to drink. And then Vivieno, you're going to give a rating. And Jerry and I are going to drink. I know that was a lot.
Okay.
I will walk everybody through it. So I'm going to give my rating now. And yeah, like as you know, I really did enjoy this movie. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm definitely going to rewatch it again. It's got a lot of cool moments in it. It's fun. It's scary. It's gory. I'm giving it a 3.5.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be 3.5 seconds for you, but I will wait until Jerry gives his rating so we can kind of drink together. So Jerry, since we haven't really heard from you too much, like I talked a lot. So like, what do you think of this movie?
It's all right. You know what? I didn't know what to expect kind of walking into this film. One, watching it, even just like on Prime, I thought it looked beautiful. It was shot beautifully. The colors were gorgeous. I wasn't expecting any of that from what I probably thought was going to be like a lame kind of 80s remake. It wasn't that at all. It was actually a really nice looking film, and that drew me in really quick. Right after that, same as you guys, this film is fucking dangerous and shocking at moments. You know, you don't know who's going to die. No one is safe. And I like that. I like feeling uneasy. Even at the end, I'm like, are they going to kill Meg? You know, I'm like, I didn't know who they were going to kill. So just because of that, I really liked it. I didn't think a pink mass of ooze would be scary, but it was. So I'm rating this kind of high. I'm giving it a 3.5
Okay.
bloody knives as well.
All right. So we're all going to drink for 3.5 seconds. So cheers to that, everybody.
Here
Cheers,
we
cheers.
go. Mhm.
Okay. So this Devil's River was gross, but now that it's like
Oh.
my ice is melting, it's getting a little more palatable. And I'm getting a little buzz, so I'm able to kind of handle it, and I'm slurring now.
Yeah,
so
it's not
that's
fair for you.
So-
I have just beer. You guys are drinking hard stuff. I should have.
And you're screwed, Rich, because you're about to hear Viv's
Oh yeah,
rating.
and,
So.
and you picked this movie, so I'm really scared as to what you're gonna give it. So at a scale of 0 to 5, what do you rate The Blob? Final thoughts.
I'm gonna be. I am the same. Like I think a 4 is a little high. I think a 3.5 is very generous. And yeah, it's fuck it. I'll do 4 just to be.
It's just a
It's
fuck with
mine,
us.
so like it's my pick.
Just a fuck with
It is
Rich.
like when I have to pick, like everyone's like, what's your favorite 80s horror? I always go with that. And there are better ones, certainly. Few and far between, but I just like to be a little different and kind of give a little bit of an alternative, and everyone's always going to say The Thing or what have you. So I'm going to say 4 out of 5. for
All
me.
right. So Jerry and I are gonna drink that 4. Cheers to that.
Listen, and since we're doling out some sips, Viv, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Usually around this time of the podcast, I like to really fuck with people, and I'm
Okay.
gonna really fuck with you. And I'm curious if you would like to play one of our drinking games that's become quite a classic. And
Okay.
it's called Random Ass Trivia. And
All right.
what this is I have a couple questions, but they're only based on the Blob. So
Okay.
if you've seen the Blob, you should be okay, but it's going to be random ass shit about the Blob. So it might be a little bit tough, but I think for an expert like you, it's going to be okay. But I'm going to add another little layer to this because I just feel like being a dick tonight. So it's going to be random ass trivia with another game that we call progressive sips trivia. So what that means is I'm going to ask a question, and basically what that question is, like say question 1 is worth 1 sip. But then it progresses as we go to number 2. It's the 2 plus the 1, so that's 3. So it progresses as you go along into the questions, and the last basic question is like worth 10 sips. So here's how it works. We're gonna have teams. I'm gonna put you and Rich on a team.
All right.
Okay. And I'm gonna be on my own here. Okay. And here's the thing: if you guys get the question right, I take the sips. But if you guys get the question wrong, you take the sips. Are you down to play?
Let's do it.
All right,
Viv,
cool.
just so you know, we've recorded probably like 70 episodes, and we play a drinking game on every episode, at least one, and I think Jerry's lost every one of the 70 drinking games. So I'm not. We're gonna get hurt a little bit, but I don't think we're gonna get destroyed. But we'll see what happens. Maybe tonight's his night. It's Lucky Monday. Who knows?
If I lose tonight, I'm just gonna have AI develop these questions going forward because clearly I cannot come up with good questions. All right, so again, we're just thinking about the Blob here, and this is question 1. Could be easy, could be hard. What was Kevin Dillon's character's full name?
Oh fuck, I don't know. I haven't watched The Blob in such a long time. Fuck. Fuck. I don't know.
I don't know it either.
Oh, it's Brian
And I usually
Flagg.
write down the names.
Brian Flagg.
Yeah.
Brian Flagg.
Yep. All right, 1 sip for you guys. One
Cheers.
sip.
All right. That's
Okay.
okay. It's easy. If we're gonna get one wrong, it's that first one.
Okay.
Let's lock in now.
All right, you guys need to lock in because I mean, if you haven't seen it in a minute, it might be a little tough. There was that transient guy that had the ooze all over his hand, and he goes to the hospital, and they make a big moment of it. What room did they place him in that hospital? It's a number.
Number 3.
Wow, you nailed it.
Was that a guess or did you know it?
You nailed it. You see that? So now I got to take 3 sips. You see, this is exactly what happens, Viv. You take a guess and somehow it just screws me. Never works. People take wild guesses all the time and I get screwed. So let me take my sips.
So what's this next one worth? This next one's worth 5 sips? My math is
3, 4. It's going to be 6.
Okay, so 6, and then we'll do probably 8 and then 10.
6.
Okay.
No, 6,
right.
and they'll go up to 10. So there's only 4
So that's
questions.
a 2. Okay,
Yep,
got it.
6 and then
all right,
10.
this is a big one. We got to get this one.
This is a big one. 6 sips. Okay. The sheriff Herb was making fun of Brian Flagg's mother, and he mentioned a type of whiskey that she's probably sitting home drinking. What type of whiskey was it? Rich, I feel like you should have nailed that. You should nail this one.
I wrote it down and I don't remember it. I totally wrote it down though.
It's not Jack Daniels. It's something fucking.
You're close. I will give you.
Yeah.
I'm good at giving hints, so I don't lie when I give hints. I'm going to say you're very close.
Is it like Kentucky bourbon or something like that?
I'll guess Jim Beam.
Jim Beam.
All right, you guys were really, really close. It was actually Johnny Walker Red.
Johnny Walker. Fuck. Yeah.
It's like I wrote it down, but I already closed out my notes. Damn. All right, so here we go. So we're at
6
7.
sips.
So we have to get this one right, so to keep our streak alive.
Yep.
Oh, I got to drink too. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't leave it all on me, man. We're in this together.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Viv might need a refill if you get this
I
one
think I'm
wrong.
gonna have to.
This one is worth 10 sips, which is bonkers right now. So, let's see. All right, I gotta be really tactical here. Okay, Shawnee Smith's character, Meg. Oh, this is gonna fuck me, I feel like. All right. What kind of car did she drive?
Oh fuck! It's a Ford Taurus.
No,
I
you
have
got
no
to guess,
guess.
Rich.
I have no idea.
You guys don't know?
Oh wait, her car was. He said it was a small fucking car. It was like
Go ahead. I'll give you another
Geo.
shot.
Was it like a Geo?
You guys are off. All right.
Chevelle?
I think I'm gonna win this one. I think I'm gonna win this one.
What is it?
The reason why I mentioned this because this is a classic horror film car.
Ah, it's
every
Volkswagen
single
Beetle.
Yeah, Volkswagen.
All right,
So,
cheers.
you know,
Beetle? Fuck. All right, I gotta grab another beer.
Oh my
I didn't
god.
remember that.
I cannot believe that I just won my first trivia game.
Ugh.
Woo!
I picked the wrong night to lose because this Devil's River is sending me straight to hell. Oh man.
I love seeing you guys taking 10 sips right now.
So this is Vivieno's third beer, I believe, in this episode. So, and he's about to.
Sorry.
Damn. All right, 10 sips for that beer.
There we go. So I just
Beer's
took
a
the
tough
3
one to do 10
sips.
sips on, and we did 17.
You guys took 17 sips. Unbelievable. Oh, I love it. Let me
oh, he just finished
myself
the glass.
right now.
Oh, he almost finished the
Yeah,
glass.
hell
That was
yes.
awesome.
All right.
All right. So
And there's the reel right there, Viv, that we're going to be using to promote this.
So Vivieno Caldinelli, thank you so much for coming on. Before we
thanks for having me.
Before we let you go, just one last question I have for you. We talked a lot about 80s movies and throwbacks and things like that. What's the best movie you've seen recently that's new? It doesn't need to be horror, just like maybe something you saw in the theater or just something you just came across. You're like, that was really good and inspired me.
You know what? I'll say that I don't think it's about that I've seen it lately, but something I was talking to a friend about that I think I need to revisit, and it's the first Scream, because the last one is so bad, and I just going through and just the fact that like how I guess Wes Craven was kind of not done, but you know what I mean? Like he was just kind of more in the twilight of his career, and he was such an uphill battle to get that movie made and even shooting it. I think the studios didn't know, like, were fighting him about everything. The cast was fighting him on everything, and it ended up being just a fucking incredible. And I'm not a big slasher person either. Especially like when it comes to like teen rompy type of like slasher type of thing. But it was such a brilliant movie and really, really fucking well made. And
it's a different kind of slasher movie because it's very meta. It's very like and it hadn't been done before. Like now it's like you go back and you watch it and it doesn't hold up because you've seen it done 100 times. But at the time that was very brand new and a very fresh take.
Absolutely.
on a horror film. And it came at a time where horror movies were kind of dead. Like the 90s are not a great time for horror. And this came out and it was like, holy shit, like can't wait to see what's next. And then they just did a bunch of screwed knockoffs for the next 5 years, unfortunately. Horror wasn't back, but you thought horror was going to be back, and they're like, no, it wasn't. But yeah, I agree with that. I haven't seen the new one yet. I know Jerry has seen the new one also. I'm going to see it at some point. I'm not overly excited about it.
No, it's from, it's not worth it. But if you're gonna go, you know what I mean. But it's funny. This like what horror was like in the '90s, the kind of dead and not really. That's what comedy's like now. There's no comedies.
They don't make R-rated comedies, especially because they don't think.
No.
It's funny, they don't make R-rated comedies because they don't think they'll do well. But then when they do insanely well. So it's like weird, it's like studio thing where they're just like not signing off on it, but then they do and they're successful. So it's very odd why they don't make more. Maybe it's for the best that they don't because maybe they wouldn't be good. But I don't know. We'll see. And it's funny. I read that. I think the original, there's a new Scary Movie coming out, Scary Movie 6. And I think I read that Scary Movie, the original, actually made more than like the first 3 Scream movies put together. So it's, weird that they don't make more comedies. But yeah, so anyway, Viv, it was great to have you on. Everybody check out their new film, Scared Shitless. It's really funny. It's a really fun, entertaining movie with some great gore, great special effects. It's got a cool monster, cool characters. It's like 80 minutes, like not even, so it's like it flies right by. There's no filler, it's just all action. Definitely check it out. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really had a great time. I got a good buzz going, and I did.
So just last question, other than Scared Shitless 2, which we are exclusively announcing here, what else do you have coming up that you can talk about?
That you can talk about.
Yeah, it's not like got stuff in development. I have meetings like this week and next for like a show idea that I'm writing with a friend, and it's it's all kind of the same thing, just some comedy stuff, some horror stuff. So it's really everything is kind of in a place where I can't really necessarily just. It's not something I should talk about just yet because it really isn't something. But
Yeah.
a lot of good things, lot of good things brewing. It's just it'll poke its head out very very soon, so to
All
speak.
right.
So unfortunately I can't. But so I guess it's just Scared Shitless right now. It's just Scared Shitless on Prime, and yeah, check it out. Check it out
And that's
when
it.
you can.
And follow Viv on Instagram at one eye Viv. And
Yeah,
you can see the letter
one
I, then Viv.
I Viv. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. It was a blast. And let's one last cheers before we roll out of here.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Night, everybody.